TNT Sports hopes 2025 French Open coverage reignites U.S. tennis fans. The 2025 French Open qualifying rounds are underway in Roland-Garros, Paris, and TNT Sports is already putting a new sheen on traditional tennis television coverage. In its first French Open of a 10-year broadcast deal, TNT Sports promises to provide the most comprehensive, fan-focused television coverage of Roland-Garros ever. This is welcome news to frustrated American tennis fans who in recent years watched U.S. broadcasters treat one of the world's most popular sports like Division III field hockey. Craig Berry, Executive Vice President and Chief Content Officer at TNT Sports, believes tennis and its fans are ready for a change. "I think we're at a little bit of a crossroads or a renaissance with tennis," said Berry in an interview with Forbes.com. "You have a lot of young, super athletic potential superstars, both on the international side, on the U.S. side. And so I think it's really in a good place to take the coverage and look at it with a fresh lens." American tennis fans yearn for a fresh take on the French Open. In recent years, trying to watch the French Open had become such a chore that awful announcing writer Daniel Kaplan devoted a column to the question, why does NBC still bother broadcasting the French Open? The day after Kaplan published that column, Warner Bros. Discovery announced the $650 million new deal to cover the French Open. Without any details of how coverage might change, tennis fans across social media platforms rejoiced. TNT Sports' new era for French Open coverage in the U.S. It's a new era for French Open coverage in America. All the anticipation and speculation are over. Now, TNT Sports has a chance to strut its stuff. Based on the wall-to-wall live coverage available during the qualifying rounds on Max, TNT Sports is walking with a gangsta limp, left hand tucked behind the back. The official French Open website features a list of broadcasters from around the world and the daily order of play. Main draw action begins Saturday, May 25th. The women's final airs June 7th, followed by the men on June 8th. Live coverage begins daily at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on TNT and True TV. No need to scavenger hunt for matches. If you have standard or premium access to Max, you can watch all 900-plus matches, men's and women's singles, doubles, mixed doubles, wheelchair, boys, girls, and even legends, live and replay. Earlier this week, TNT Sports laid out its coverage plans in a press release. Fans can view multiple featured matches each day and live at Roland-Garros, a daily studio show with analysis from a dream team of tennis commentators. TNT Sports will also bring fans closer to the game with live in-match player interviews and mic'd coaches at times during matches. The Rally at Roland-Garros, on True TV, will provide red zone-style whip-around coverage including a blend of studio analysis and live match commentary. TNT Sports hopes to engage today's multi-platform surfing, multiverse conditions sports consumer. When NBC first broadcast tennis, live morning matches on network television were cutting edge. In the 1970s, fans watched tape-delayed matches, which was fine for an audience with no ESPN or cable news coverage to show highlights. People were still reading newspapers for post-match analysis. Now, highlights hit social media during the match. Tennis fans can watch tournaments on a mobile device, laptop, or 4K on a 98-inch television. Still, despite new technology, the French Open remains steeped in tradition. Sure, Wimbledon is the major most associated with prim and proper antiquated rituals. However, the French Open was the last Grand Slam to install a retractable roof over its show stadium. Philippe Chatrier got a roof nearly 32 years after the Australian Open's Rob Laver and a decade after center court at Wimbledon. The French Open is the only Grand Slam not using Hawkeye technology to make lines calls. Chair umpires still climb down to inspect ball marks in clay. Barry, a tennis fan who once played with a wooden racket, said TNT Sports will try to strike a balance between innovation and tradition. "We understand the traditional legacy and, this is a marathon and we're going to walk before we run. And it's small incremental shifts and pivots to kind of find the sweet spot of where we think we could bring a really entertaining presentation to the fans," he said. "Because ultimately, we work for the fans. We're taking all of these great personalities, these assets, and we're going to find some chemistry and we're going to go out and have a really good time delivering tennis to the fans." Advertisers are on board, buying up all available inventory, according to Adweek. We have this global property around the world exclusively in WBD, so it's really in our control. You don't have to share it with anybody who might nail in the first part. John Diamond, WBD's Executive Vice President of Ad Sales, told Adweek. We're the only provider, so we're going in big with this. We put a lot of chips on the table.